cut a straight branch. Figure 2, remove twigs and leaves. And figure 3, whittle into a wand shape. An athame or wizard's knife must be used to cut out the wand, which may be finished with appropriate crystals, stones, or the wizard's name in symbols. Okay, let's read this. Principles of magic. To cast spells, one must summon the correct kind of elf, fairy or genie to help us in our work. The magic words and other elements, such as using robes of a specific colour, incenses with a particular smell, special types of wand, and so forth, associated with a spell or merely a kind of address, to get in touch with the fairy and to ask it to do our bidding. For example, reconciliation spells involve a spirit known as Imok Urok, who is attracted to the colour green, images of doves, and the wood of olive trees. He is summoned by repeating the letters in his name over and over again, while waving an olive branch over the two parties who need to be reconciled. These principles are also used to apply magic to potions and items, where the idea is to bind the elf or fairy to the potion by using ingredients agreeable to it. Up the next page. Here is a list of some of the more notable words of power in use by wizards. First one, I think we all know this one, don't we? Abracadabra. This word banishes all kinds of evil things. Aim your wand properly as you shout it. Hey, presto. This word is used to distract an audience, as when pulling a rabbit from a hat. It is never used by real, bona fide wizards. Hocus Pocus, used in the phrase Hocus Pocus, Tontus, Talontus, Vade, Celerita, Dubio, which means nothing in Latin, but is a spell for concealing things. Mumbo Jumbo, the name of an actually very friendly African spirit used to strike fear into one's enemies and other foolish persons. Open Sesame, a spell for undoing locked doors and chests so that they pop open in much the same way as the sesame seed pod. Okay, so that's that little booklet. And then we have here Vivian's Circle. This spell protects you from all magical attacks as long as you do not step outside of a circle you cast around you with salt. See the four names: Glad, Lafor, Japes, and Prankster, glowing around the circle, imagining each one as a powerful spirit who will protect you. And then there's this spell, Glad and Japes at east and west. Their protection is the best. Lafor, Prankster, south and north. Their protection tallies forth in the circle I have called. to train it correctly. So on this side we have dogs. Dogs are faithful guardians and find lost objects through their magical sense of smell. Cats, my favourite. With their excellent night vision and independent natures, cats can visit many places unnoticed. Toads, cunning infiltrators of every bog and marsh. Toads are small enough to carry with you. Dogs, with their limited intelligence, dogs are really not much use for anything besides quacking. Fishes. A fish familiar, be it sea or fresh water, can be useful in making aquatic discoveries. Owls. These nocturnal hooters are very wise and see a great deal without needing to interfere. And then we have a picture here of a squirrel, an owl and a cat. It says, my familiars. My own familiars, my cat, Grey Malkin, my hedgehog, Paddock, and of course my faithful owl, Harpier, were not always such kindly characters. Once they dwelt with 3 witches on a heath somewhere in the ancient kingdom of Scotland. Finding a familiar. When you find a creature that you wish to become your familiar, you must first ask its permission by passing your hand over it and crying, by the moon that shines at night and the sun that's very bright, I ask you once, I ask you twice, but more than twice would not be nice. With a wag, a croak, or mew, pray tell me now what you will do. Will you, my familiar be, give your answer unto me? Wait until the creature does something you take to mean yes. While the animal may have had another name, such as Rex, Mouser, or Quackers, it is now important for you to choose a secret, magical name. Now on this side we have a box with really nice illustration. Common wizard familiars, a selection of the most usual kinds of wizardological creature, also their secret names. So, here we have an owl called Harpier, a rabbit, or is that a hare, called, I think that says Pyewackett, a cat called Vinegar Tom, a dog called Grizzle, Greedy Gut, and a frog called Sack and Sugar. It's a strange name. Naming your familiar. Once you've decided upon the secret name that you're going to give your familiar, pass your hand over it again 5 times, crying, now I'll give you a new name, secret as a hidden flame. It's a secret none shall see, only we two, you and me. With my hand I make the spell. Your new name, to none I'll tell, it is, and then the name. Here, cry out the name. The creature's now become your familiar. This is a very important relationship, and from now on you must do everything in your power to help and heal the animal, should it ever require your assistance. Now we have another little flap on the right hand side. It says Animal Magic, a guide to working with familiars, and it's got a cat on the front reaching out its responsive answers. Walking clockwise round the room means yes. Walking anti-clockwise means no. Walking up and down in a straight line means maybe, I don't know. Disappearing for hours on end or giving you a look means don't bother me with silly questions like that. Different ways of working can be likewise achieved for dogs, toads and others. In the case of simpler beasts like slugs or snails, it may take some weeks for an